You're semi-retired.
Good.
Yeah, you're all set.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the disability meeting for April 2018. Please make your introductions to the record.
Stephanie Zimberg, designee for Police Commissioner O'Neill.
Samantha Gagan, counsel, and Mike Dewey, present by invitation.
Susanna Vickers, designate for Controller Scott Strayer.
John Dorsa, alternate for Controller Scott Strayer.
Cynthia Collins, designate for Mayor Bill de Blasio.
Phil Dukes, designee for Finance Commissioner Jacques Giha.
Brian Berge, Law Department by invitation.
Marta Ross, Law Department, present by invitation.
Joe Alejandro, designee for Patrick Lynch, John Puglisi, and Mubarak Abdul-Jabbar.
Chris McGrath, PBA by invitation.
Merritt Riley from the PBA.
Mark Marino, PBA by invitation.
Brad Schaub, PBA by invitation.
Anthony Bradley, SBA by invitation.
Gary DeRosa, designee, Ed Mullins, SBA.
Vic Sifuni, present by invitation, counsel, SBA, LBA, CEA.
Lou Turco, LBA.
Roy Richter, CEA.
Kenny Sparks, DEA, designee for Mike Palladino.
Karen Paxton, DEA by invitation.
Artie Williams, DEA by invitation.
Mike Samet, Officer of the Actuary, present by invitation.
Mark Lyman, Chief Surgeon, by invitation.
Bob Senskis, Pension Fund by invitation.
Kevin Halloran, Pension Fund by invitation.
Subhash Shamati, New York City Law Department by invitation.
Anthony Antonellis, Medical Division by invitation.
Diane Carr, Police Pension Fund by invitation. Mary Young, present by invitation.
Charles Mastretta, Police Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Nancy Diaz, Police Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Nicole Jambrisi, Police Pension Fund, present by invitation.
John Flynn, Police Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Keith Snow, Office of the Actuary, by invitation.
Musa Frani, present by invitation. Stanley Thomas, Police Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Dina Lawrence, Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Angelo Trent, Police Pension Fund by invitation.
And Savannah, Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Lisa Garcia, Pension Fund, present by invitation.
Joe?
Thank you, Kevin. I'd like to take just a moment to put on the record that a former executive director of the pension fund, Mike Wilson, a friend to all of us at the table, had a serious health issue earlier this week and is struggling at this point. And I would just like to take a moment of silence on behalf of Mike and also to keep his family in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, page 1. To confirm the next meeting date, Wednesday, May 9, 2018. Pages 2 through 41.
2 through 41, Joe, nothing of a controversial nature, so moved.
Thank you, Kenny. So move that. Okay, pages 42 through 62. This is going to get complicated here. A letter regarding preliminary fiscal year 2019 employer contribution. Nicole, do you want to clear up the record on all these letters and resolutions?
Yes. So in the packet that you have before you, you're going to see corresponding pages for two different items on the preliminary fiscal year 2019 employer contribution. The latter item on your agenda is the matter that was tabled last month.
The memorandum.
The memorandum. So that is the letter that the Chief Actuary of the City of New York had issued in advance of last month's board meeting. That matter was tabled. There has since been a superseding memorandum from the Chief Actuary, and that is labeled as a letter on here because I believe the trustees have worked out wording for a resolution that they would like to put forth, and that is labeled as resolution. Now, even though there was a superseding letter from the Chief Actuary, the administrative staff couldn't just take off an item from the agenda that the board had tabled, even though there was a superseding. So you have to take some action on the memorandum in addition to whatever action that you decide to take on the current letter and the resolution being put forth by the board.
Okay. Well, this is complicated. All right. So with regards to page 42 through 62, the letter, preliminary fiscal year 2019 employee contribution, that was the letter from the actuary?
Correct. That's the letter that was disseminated to the board this past Monday afternoon.
Nicole, is the date on page 62 correct? April 2018 is correct, right?
The letter actually begins on page 42.
Oh, okay.
It's a letter from the Chief Actuary of the City of New York to the Board of Trustees of the New York City Police Pension Fund, dated April 4th, 2018. That letter was disseminated via electronic email from our office to all the trustees on Monday, April 10th.
So-
Nicole, is that the letter that supersedes the memorandum?
Yes, that's the letter that supersedes what you tabled last month.
So would it be in order for the board to make a motion to accept that letter and replace the memorandum that had previously been in the agenda?
Right.
Marta, Brian, I think that's okay.
You have to repeat that.
If the idea is that there's a stale letter on the agenda, then that seems an appropriate action to take, to rid the agenda of the stale letter and have the current letter be placed as the active item on the agenda. I mean, I guess it's already on the agenda technically, but just to rid ourselves of the stale letter.
So, given that there's a stale letter on this, the fact that this has all been back and forth, there's been changes with regards to all these matters, the PBA would like to table the letter that is now, I think, a resolution at this point.
Would you like to vote on replacing the stale letter?
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. We need to have the letter replace it. Right. So let's vote to replace that letter.
So I move to replace that letter.
Second.
So
All in
move.
favor?
Aye.
So that, given that, and then the fact that we're waiting for the letter to catch up to the resolution, we'd like to table that matter. That, right? So that's the letter, that's the resolution on page 42 through 62.
Next month, we just have the one letter.
Right, next month we'll have the letter and the resolution together.
And the resolution that's on the table is the
On page
revised
63.
Page 63.
Right. And that one, and also on page 104.
That's a separate issue.
That's a separate issue, but it's a similar item that we're gonna wind up. So that also, does that also need a letter?
There is a letter from Sherry here.
But is that a stale letter or is that a?
No,
the
this
date?
is new. That's the final fiscal year 18 contribution. What you tabled last month was the preliminary 19 contribution.
Okay, so on page 104, pages 83 through 103, that's the letter that you have there.
That's the letter from the actuary to the board.
All right.
On
Page
the final.
104 is the resolution she's putting forward now.
No, page 103 is the resolution she suggested. Page 104 is the revised resolution that reflects discussions between various members of this board.
So the PBA would also like to table that matter also, pages 83 through 103, the letter.
Only have to make.
Can we replace?
Yeah.
No, she said the letter doesn't need to be replaced.
That doesn't exist, not stale.
Yeah, it's not a stale letter.
No.
The letter isn't stale, but is the resolution, does that need to be replaced?
No, that's a new one.
Well,
This is-
Sherry's letter contains a suggested resolution. So that is incorporated in the memorandum from her to the board. Page 104 is a resolution that was drafted by the Board of Trustees and was not contained in her letter.
So operationally, next month, if we wanted to pass the board's resolution, would we need to take action on the suggested resolution?
I don't know that it's an action item. I think it was a communication to the board.
Right.
And then page 63 is likewise the revised resolution that was drafted by the board, not by the actuary.
Correct. Page 62 would be her suggested resolution.
Okay.
And page 103 is her suggested resolution also.
Correct.
Page 104 is the resolution put forward by the board.
Correct.
Right. Okay, so I'd like to table pages 83 through 103. And with regards to the resolution 104, I don't know if the city wants to withdraw that or so noted, or I don't know what your action is on that.
I think the one
That's the city's resolution. That's the board resolution.
Right, that's the one that we tabled. That's,
Joe,
No.
that's the new
hold on a
one.
second. Ministerially, the memorandum that you tabled, 64 to 82,
Yes,
which is being replaced by pages 42 to 62,
right.
we're going to so note that
So note that memorandum.
with the
With the 42 through 62 resolution, page 62.
We're going to so note that.
So if I,
The resolution.
just a point of order. The actuary has provided a recommended resolution. However, the actuary is not a trustee, so they can't introduce a resolution. So my understanding is the board has a resolution before them that was in some ways crafted by the board, which ultimately is in line with the actuary's suggested resolution. However, it's the board introducing it. Is that a fair assessment of the situation?
Yes.
So just to clear the record of why there's competing.
Just at this point, I'm uncomfortable looking at these items with language change, and again, it seems to be like competing resolutions and tables. I'd like to just table all those items, except for the one regarding on page 105, the resolution regarding authorization to utilize the OPEB.
So that's separate. So just to make it clear for the record, the action that I've heard the board take is you replaced the memo that was put before you last month with the chief actuary's memo regarding the preliminary 19 employer contribution, her memo dated April 4th. So on next month's agenda,
Provided no language has been changed.
we're not altering her letter.
No, I'm just saying, provided no language has been changed.
Right.
Right.
So her letter to the board will be put forth on next month's agenda, along with the resolution drafted by the board, which is currently on page 63 of your record, that you've also tabled. Then the new item placed before you today was the fiscal year 18 final contribution. That was a new memorandum from the chief actuary to the board. And then accompanying that on the next page, 104, is the resolution that was drafted by the board, and you've tabled both of those items as well.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Now, on page, it's going to be a complicated record, but page 105, resolution authorization to utilize pension census data to compute other post-employment benefits obligations. PBA would like a roll call vote on that.
Okay. CBA,
PBA abstains.
DEA,
Yes.
SBA,
Yes.
LBA,
Yes.
CEA,
Yes.
Police Commissioner,
Yes.
Commissioner of Finance,
Yes.
Mayor's Office,
Yes.
County Controller,
Yes.
the vote carries.
Okay. Pages 106 through 107, resolution regarding fiscal year 2018 augmented budget.
All right, I'll try and keep this brief, but just to take you back, at one point December, last year you approved the budget, which included the upgrade for our system. What was not included in that was the secondary services, and that's because we didn't have firm numbers for those services. So we went back, issued RFPs, and we are now ready to move forward with that with firm numbers. What we're looking to do is augment the budget with an increase of between $10,103,000 to $13,447,000. In addition to that, we're looking to increase the budget by $98,000 for, this is fiscal year 2018, by the way. And keeping in mind that although we're increasing the budget by $98,000, we're giving back roughly $9 million because we haven't started the project yet. So I'm looking for someone to so move this.
Oh, so moved.
Second?
Thank you, everyone.
Chorus of ayes. Okay. All right, so then that ends the public session.
You still have fiscal year 2019.
I'm sorry, you're right. A discussion on fiscal year 2019 budget.
Okay, not in the packet, but in a separate envelope, you should have two copies of budgets, one for the operational and the other one for the COPS project. We decided to separate the two so it's easier to track. and we're asking you to take a look at that, and, we'll meet up at a different time, we'll coordinate that and discuss it, and hopefully we'll get your vote next month.
Okay. All right, with that, I make a motion that we leave public session and go into executive session for purposes of discussing disabilities.
Okay.
Just let him get up the record.
All right.